At the time, my parents, the people that I was talking to, neighbors, everyone told me do not buy a house.
Yeah.
You're going into a time where there's this big sickness going around. People are dying.
Yeah, for real.
It was a really scary time, but at that moment, I was like, I've got to make this decision.
Welcome to Loans Elevated, the podcast that brings you the latest industry news, expert interviews, and insightful discussions that will help you stay ahead in this dynamic market. I'm your host, Broch Lassig, and I've spent years in the trenches of the mortgage industry, helping individuals and businesses navigate the complex landscape of real estate financing.
I'm your co-host, TJ Heidenreich, and together we'll cover a wide range of topics, from business strategies that skyrocket your success to mindset and motivation that fuel your growth. All right, welcome back to another episode of Loans Elevated. Today I've got Josh here with me. He's been on the podcast before, but it's been a while, so welcome back, Josh.
Thanks, TJ. I'm excited to be here.
No problem. Today we're talking about house hacking, and house hacking is near and dear to my heart. I've helped a ton of clients do this, and I've actually done it myself with my first house. So, Josh, do you want to explain a little bit what house hacking is?
Of course. Don't know. So house hacking is where one person or a group of people decide to rent out either a portion of their home or individual rooms in their house to help offset their mortgage payment.
Yeah, for sure. Have you done this?
Yeah, I love house hacking. So
tell us your story. Like, how did you get into it? Did you just get your first house? Give me some background.
So the first house I ended up buying was a condo up in South Salt Lake, about 3300 South. Cool. And I ended up talking to two of the people that I went to college with. And had them move into the home. The mortgage payment was about $1,200 a month, and so I was charging each room $450 to $500 because one room was a little bit bigger. Yeah. But essentially, it was able to offset almost the entire payment. Yeah. Without that, I don't think I would have been able to get into lending.
Right. for sure. Similar story for me too. This was back in 2018, so home prices were a little bit lower than where they're at right now. And I was a first-time home buyer. I had almost no credit. So I was very new to credit. So my score was in the mid 600s at the time. And I wanted to buy a house because I had just gotten into the mortgage industry. I was seeing all the financial gains that could happen from owning a home, but I also was not making that much money yet because I was just so new into the industry. Mm-hmm. I hadn't closed a lot of loans. So I knew that I had to house hack. And I was also going to school at the time too, while still doing mortgages. So I got into the home. And my mortgage payment at the time, it was $1,800, and at the time that was a ton of money. Now buying a house, when we talk about mortgage payments, like $1,800, oh, it's fine, like with today's house prices and rates. But at the time, that was a lot of money for myself, if I wasn't going to close a loan, I was making minimum wage. So I was literally donating plasma to just make my portion of it. But then it was a 4-bedroom house that had a 4-bed, 4-bath. So every bedroom had its own bathroom. And I was renting to college students, and that helped make my mortgage payment for 2 years. And in that 2 years time span, the appreciation on the house went from, I bought it for $322, and just 2 years later, I got it appraised, and it was appraised for over $500,000. So I made a ton of money in that time, which I would not have had I not house hacked, because I wouldn't be able to make that payment. If I didn't, I was going to be renting, and the dorm, even just for a dorm, then I was going to be paying over $700 a month for just a dorm. I was paying less than that out of pocket by the time I was renting out all the bedrooms and making a ton of equity along the way. So I think house hacking is super important. Now, a further step with house hacking is you get to upgrade. What I mean by that is when you buy a house in Utah, or I guess anywhere, but when you purchase that primary residence, you're signing a letter of intent stating you intend to occupy that property for 1 year's time. And then at that time, have you done this too?
Yeah, let me tell you a little bit about my experience.
Go ahead.
So after I bought that condo, obviously this is back in 2019 before the entire market decided to boom.
Yeah, for real.
And, it was a really, really good decision. But at the time, my parents, the people that I was talking to, neighbors, everyone told me do not buy a house. Yeah. You're going into a time where there's this big sickness going around. People are dying. Yeah, for real. It was a really scary time. But, at that moment, I was like, I've got to make this decision. Mm-hmm. So when that condo ended up appreciating, it went up about $80,000-$90,000 in 1 year. Wow. Decided to take that money and move it over into a new home because at first, I was very, very worried that the market was going to outgrow my income. Right. Which obviously it's definitely picked up quite a bit.
Right, for sure.
So ended up taking all the equity from that condo and rolling it into a new home. Nice. The new home now had 3 bedrooms upstairs, 2 bathrooms, and then unfinished basement that I was able to convert into a studio apartment.
So you just rinsed and repeat, did the same thing.
Rinsed and repeat. So yeah, now I've got 2 people upstairs paying $700 a month, guy downstairs paying $1,000 a month.
Wow.
Mortgage payments about $1,600.
So you're making money on the mortgage itself,
Mm-hmm.
and you are now purchasing another property.
Exactly.
Wow.
Doing the exact same thing, filling the basement with renters, mortgage payments a little bit higher on the new one, about 3,500.
Just because of rates. But
Exactly.
eventually rates will come down on this new property. You can refinance and hopefully cash flow, or at least get close to cash flowing with, you know, with renting out the basement. And then you could do the same thing, rinse and repeat a year later if need be. And now you've got 3 properties, 2 of which are rented out, making money for you, and a primary residence.
And, you know, obviously we don't want to be living with our friends
Right,
for our whole life, but I think this is a very good starting point for people, especially, you know, if you're a young married couple, maybe have 1 or 2 kids and you're trying to get into the housing market, but you don't know if this is, if it's possible for you to keep up with that payment.
Right.
Well, talk to your friends, talk to your family. TJ always explains the red car method.
Yeah, for sure.
When you're looking for a red car, it's more likely you're going to see red cars driving around.
Yep.
Same thing when you're looking for a house. If you decide you want to buy a home, you're going to find other people that want to buy a home with you.
Yep. I call it the reticular activating system. It's like once you're looking to do something, you just start seeing it everywhere.
Exactly.
It's like our own Instagram algorithm in our head. It's like you look up one thing and now it's everywhere. The cool thing that with house hacking is that, because it's really, I mean, it's for anyone, but for people that want to acquire a portfolio of real estate, they want to have multiple properties and create wealth through real estate by having multiple properties. It's the easiest way to do it, because you're putting down 3 to 5%. You know, you're little to no money down to purchase these properties because it's a primary residence at first. The inverse way, if you were to do it the other way, which you wanted to own a primary residence and then purchase investment properties, well, yes, you can purchase your primary residence with zero to no or little to money down, but then your investment properties are going to be costing 15, 20, 25% to put down, and it's just hard to save up that much cash, especially if you want to acquire a portfolio fairly quickly. So I think if that's what you're looking to do, I would definitely look into it.
Well, on the topic of house hacking, I mean, a lot of people are doing this to help, you know, of course, offset their payments, but there's other people out there that are, you know, make decent money. You know, maybe they make 30, 40,000 a year.
Yeah.
They've got good credit. They've got a good work history.
Yeah.
Like they're almost there, but maybe they're only qualifying up to, you know, 250, 300,000.
Right.
What are some things you're advising your clients, TJ?
Oh, thank you for bringing that up. So one thing that I always will mention is a joint venture. What I mean by that is, and you explained it perfectly, maybe income's decent, but it's not quite where they want to be in order to get that first house, because maybe it's just not quite there for qualifying. Well, I suggest joint venturing, whether it's with a parent and or a friend, family, like anyone that is possibly looking to buy or is willing to hop on the loan with you. And the way you do this is you don't qualify. You say, for example, maybe it's me and Josh. I say, hey, Josh, I only qualify for 200. You only qualify for 250. We want to, let's band together, come up with an exit strategy, and purchase a house together. Well, now our purchasing power is in almost $500,000 between the two of us. We can purchase that first house, and we've got a pre-written up plan that in, you know, maybe 1, 2, 3 years time, we'll either refinance and or sell the property and split the equity. At that time, that's a long time that maybe our incomes have gone up so we can purchase a home, and we also have the equity being built up in the properties during that time, so then we can, you know, it'll be a little bit more manageable purchasing the next property. Or maybe we keep it, and if we, you know, use the equity and we share that property as an investment property later on to get rental income from, and, you know, start building that portfolio. So a good point. I'm using this all the time with clients. Are you using it too?
I use it almost, you know, multiple times a week.
Yeah, dude, it's crazy because you get people that they've thought about home ownership. They're not sure if they're ready, but then you bring up this idea. It's like, oh yeah, like, dude, this is how I got into my first house too. Like I did a JV and house hacked. Like I said, I was not making a lot of money when I first got into it. I knew that I had the potential to make enough to make a mortgage payment, no problem. But I was so new into the industry. So I went to my dad, and fortunately enough, I was in this position where I had a good enough relationship with them, and I knew their finances were in a point where they could help me out. And I said, hey, Dad, I've got this crazy idea, but hear me out. I want to purchase real estate because I've seen what it's done for other people, and I want to joint venture with you. I'm not a co-sign where I'm getting all the benefit, but in 2 years' time, we can either refinance and or sell the property, and you can take half the proceeds. I don't need you to put a dime into the monthly payment. I can cover it all. I'll figure it out. I just need your name on the loan so I can qualify. So he was able to co-sign for me. And it's one of the best investments he's made because he didn't have a lot of skin in the game other than, you know, the trusting me that I was going to make the payment. So his credit wasn't hurting. but he's made a ton of money off of it, and I made a ton of money, and it's literally set me up for millions of dollars worth of real estate just in just a few, 6-7 years, which is just crazy. I mean, that it's not get rich quick, but like that's how you can obtain generational wealth, through just obtaining a primary residence.
Of course.
So yeah, I think if you guys have any questions with any of this, whether it's house hacking, getting qualified, joint venture, reach out to Josh or I anytime. We would love to help out and answer any questions you may have. And if there's anything else you want to know, please put it in the comments or DM us. We'll catch you guys on the next one.
See ya.
Thank you for tuning in. For more industry insights, follow us on all platforms at Loans Elevated.
And to get in touch with our team, call or text 801-713-4000 or visit loanselevated.com.